I am unashamed. What about you?
So welcome back to Unashamed. We have what I would call, Jase, a major upgrade today.
It's a special edition.
Special edition. We have traded in Zach, who is somewhere in parts unknown, assuming he's making some deal or who knows. And we traded for Missy. Welcome, Missy, back to Unashamed. It's been too long. It's been a
really long time.
Yeah.
And I should know when I'm here, Zach flees.
Yes.
For some reason.
He's afraid of you, I think. Jase is kind of, I'm the only one not afraid of you. I love it when you come on.
That's good to know.
I love it when Jase is uncomfortable, like when you correct him and
oh boy.
Fact check him.
No. Actually, in this moment, there's a piece.
Okay, good, babe. I'm glad to hear that.
I think it's because we spent our first Sunday Sabbath together yesterday.
Yeah.
Because we went on a trip to Phoenix, Arizona.
Because y'all have been speaking together.
We have.
I cannot wait to hear about it.
Well, it actually...
He was very positive about the first time, which was like a month ago. The first time. Because
we have a history.
You have a history that wasn't always so great.
No.
But it's gotten better, right?
But when we got back yesterday, we were just tired. So I had all these plans I was going to do, and we just couldn't function.
Yeah,
it's a long way to Phoenix, especially with the commercial airline.
We were delayed and delayed
industry.
and delayed, and
I thought about y'all because Lisa and I, fortunately, the night before the real cancellations and delays started, they've been for a while leading up, but then when they really started getting serious, was our last night on the road. So we were like, thanking God. But then I looked on my calendar and I saw that y'all were on the road because I keep track of Jase's schedule for the podcast. And I was like, oh, man, I hope they get where they're supposed to go.
we did. Well, we had 1 hour to spare. So got to our hotel, and it was actually at the place we were speaking, the hotel. So got in, threw on
So y'all
dress.
did same day to the event.
Same day. And with all the
That
delays.
was bold.
Yeah.
Well, it is what it is.
I know.
That's
I
what
get
we
it.
do.
I
That's what we
get
do.
it.
But, this was by far, I don't want to depict it wrong. I'm not sure. It was nice.
It was very nice.
Where we stayed. I was going to say swanky.
Very swanky.
And
Beautiful.
And of course, they're paying for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the ultimate swanky.
I'm like,
somebody else's.
people actually do this.
Yeah.
Like,
it was a great event because it was about Christian education. And so
that was
of
our
course,
last one.
That was,
education.
you know, it's big with me.
Right.
And I have a lot to say about that and a lot of opinion about that. So it was a very easy event in terms of that, and they're doing great things. I mean, they're 137 years old or something like that. And
it's a university. Well, I was completely
That's
confused.
so funny because we had a very similar one in Idaho.
Look, so when I see this stuff months before when we plan it, and the name of the university is Friends University. Just think about that. I mean, everybody needs a friend.
Exactly.
I mean, I was like, what do you learn how to be friends? I was thinking, but it's in Kansas. And so I was thinking, oh, November, Kansas duck season is open. So when I first saw this, I thought,
no wonder you're
great,
so excited.
young people, they're inviting us. So I may go duck hunting while I'm there. Well, I didn't. So I just immediately stopped reading and said, yep, I'm in. Let's do it. Well, then we went to Phoenix. I was like, where's the university at here? And they're like, oh, it's in Kansas.
it was like a retreat for them, for the leaders of the university and the decision makers. But what's funny is Jase you didn't read all of the information.
Shocker.
But it doesn't stop there. Then he asked me about it the day before, how to pack, all of this stuff. Asked me all these questions, like it's in the sheet. I've already told you all this. We get to the event. Then he starts asking Bonnie the same questions. Now, what is this about? You know, I'm like, have you not listened to me and read the information?
Missy, he doesn't listen.
I am learning that. Poor Bonnie every time. It's like, is this what you do to her every time?
I feel like I'm being attacked here.
Well,
no, we're just telling the truth.
Yeah.
Zach and I said this recently, but Zach's just as bad. I'm the only one on this podcast that listens while the other people are talking.
I'm not surprised. Babe, I love you.
You
but
do
you still
have
have things to
you
work
do have
on.
scriptural support because it says, what is that in James? Everyone should be quick to listen.
Quick to listen, slow to speak.
I'm not good at that. Well, let me confess as I go along. Slow to speak. I'm not good at that either.
Slow to become angry.
I'm pretty good at
He's
that.
good
one.
pretty
at
good
that
at that
one.
one.
Good at
Good.
that one. Yeah.
Thank you, babe. That's
Very
the
good at
nicest
that
thing
one.
you've ever said to me this podcast.
Look, then we get to the guy, the MC, and then he starts asking the MC all the questions. I was like, Japes, we have gone over this multiple times. And so we start kind of bickering with each other. And this guy was like, this is what we need to be doing on stage. And I said, well, this is real. You can't
See,
fake
they
this.
figured it out. That was the cold open right there.
No,
Y'all
I met a friend, so I was like asking this guy. I was like, "Now, what does the university do?" And he's like, "Hey, they hired me. I've been here an hour." I was like, "What?" They
hired
hired
him.
him to be the MC.
He was great.
He's fantastic. I eventually.
So he was like a professional MC. Yeah.
Well, I got his book, which is a weird story how I got the book from the driver of the car because I guess we had the same driver.
Yeah.
And she's like, and he gave her a book, and she
she
gave me the book.
She re-gifted it to
She
you.
re-gifted it. So I
But
thought,
she did say it was good. So
I guess
don't
she
know. That's
read it
kinda
in
strange
one
now that I
day.
and
think
then
about
passed
that.
it on. Yeah.
yeah, but
Which is the best thing to do with books.
and you know what the book's about? Laughter.
Ah,
He's a semi-comedian,
yeah.
but he's clean.
Yeah.
I just kind of thumbed through the book. I thought this old boy, but I want to do a little research on him, and we need to have him on the podcast.
Let's have it.
Because I thought in that setting, this was a small gathering, kind of intimate, and he did fantastic. I thought because I thought, boy, this would be a tough crowd. Because he said, I'm going to give like a 10-minute comedy / magic routine, and I thought,
Oh, magic.
well, and he did.
Yeah.
He it was hard to explain. It wasn't magic. I don't know what you would call that. So he's like, he had a deck of cards or people, it was deck of card like.
But he engaged the audience.
Yeah, he was
in it.
great.
Pick a
He was
folder,
great.
pick
Yeah,
a folder.
yeah.
And then he's like, now you're going to be amazed. And so then all the people, he had human examples, like human props, which was the audience.
Yeah.
And so then they turned all their numbers and you're expecting it to be in sequence. Well, no, it was not. It was like complete fail. So you laugh at the fail. Well, then when they turned the numbers over, it spelled like their mantra.
It was their theme for
At
the
the
weekend.
university. It was very impressive
Yeah.
because
That's
he was like,
impressive.
here, you take this, you take one, pick one. It was like pick a card.
Yeah.
And I don't know, 13 people pick
He had
cards.
done this a time or
Yeah.
two.
Oh, yeah. It was
But this
good.
was our last event actually of the year. So
Yeah.
that was kind of like rounding out a very busy season.
Yeah.
You know, the last couple of months we have been super, super busy. Like every single weekend we have something really big to deal with, it seems like. And so even the wedding, the wedding was not Cole's wedding when he got married a few weeks ago. It wasn't anywhere near us. And so having to do a wedding and a rehearsal dinner in another state was a bit stressful, I would say, because I know nothing about Birmingham, Alabama. Absolutely nothing.
But now
So-
you feel like it's one of your home away from home.
No, I don't actually. But it was a great weekend. And I'm not just saying that. It was like a dream. If you thought, what would my son's wedding look like? Because, as the mother of the groom, it's none of my business what that wedding looks like.
Yeah.
But it was like a dream, really. It was absolutely beautiful. The place was beautiful. The wedding was beautiful. Emmeline was beautiful. Everybody was beautiful in terms of just their kindness, their hospitality, their generosity, her family's awesome.
Yeah.
Really, really awesome.
And I have breaking news on that. So Missy she's been acquiring the pictures of the wedding because, from her perspective, a lot of this is about the pictures, I've noticed. So
We don't have all of them back
we
yet.
had
still.
a Robertson family and friends.
It was just family from Cole's side.
Yeah. Married who were there at the marriage.
Some of my
At the
wing
wedding.
was there. Yeah.
However, when Missy brought out the picture that we took. And I remember us taking it. It's like everybody on the groom side take a picture.
We had one shot. It said, everybody, if you're here in our family, come up here. We got one shot we're going to take.
Guess if you know how you look at a picture and there's usually, you kind of look at the kids first because you're like, does anything stand?
Because it's probably, would you say 40 people in the shot?
That's
50?
a
think
lot.
more.
It's a lot.
40 or 50
We'll get this
people.
picture
Yeah.
for you. But look,
Yeah, we have the picture.
one person in our family stood out above all others. You're never going to guess who this one person
As the
was.
most, would you say, disengaged,
I would
not
say,
paying attention?
I would say the most distracting.
Distracted. That's a good word for it.
Most
the most
distracted-
distracted person.
Guess who that one person in our
An
wedding
audience, you already know the answer because it's the one person who's not here today.
for generations. I was looking so forward to him being here. It was my cousin and your host, Zach Dasher. Al, I have a new nickname for Zach. I'm toying with what it's going to be, but for right now, it's going to be One Eye.
Well, instead of one-eyed
called him-
Jack, you can say one-eyed Zach.
One-eyed Zach.
That's it.
When Missy sent me the picture last night, and my first thought was, look at the forehead. That's all I see. Before I even noticed the one eye, it was just his forehead sticking up, and I was like, and what's crazy is if he slides 6 inches to the right, there's a hole there that was perfect for a face.
That's the point.
Right next to Gordo.
He has all that knowledge and all those big words.
Okay.
But the common sense factor, he just move an inch.
I'm going to take up for him because I watched Emmeline take photos for hours and hours and hours. She was she was so tired. And I was like, I told the photographer, we're not going to walk all these different family units in and have pictures with
Just
them.
one
We're
big
just going
shot.
to do one shot. So everybody get in as quick as you can. And so that's kind of how it happened.
But Missy,
was
the
just
number
one
the
shot.
number one rule about a group photo, we all know this. We've done a
If you
million with
can't
our
see the
family.
camera,
if you can't see the camera,
camera
it can't see you. I mean, come on, that's like
Everybody knows this.
Everybody knows.
I
this.
think, Maddie, you should zoom that up because it's a large.
Yeah,
look,
I want you to
get it
zoom
as
in.
big as possible. Send me that picture because I want
Okay.
to use it for
The only
mine.
other one that was weird was your dad.
I know. Well,
because your
let me
dad
say
was like
this.
leaned out.
There's
but
one-
at least he was seen.
There's one little person who saved that photo. And I mean, everybody looks beautiful, and I'm not going to say that, but it just stole the show. And that was little Haven, which is Sadie's little girl.
Yeah.
She was mesmerized with Emmeline the entire night.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it, but Corey's mom told me later, she said, all Haven wants to do is look at the bride princess on her phone all the time. Show me the bride princess. And if you look in that photo, Haven is peeking around and just has her eyes on Emmeline. It is the cutest thing
Yeah, and
ever.
Emmeline looked beautiful. Let me, because I want to ask you some more about the wedding. Our good friends at Family Research Council, speaking of family, are there to help us defend truth. Tony Perkins, Missy, you've heard us talk about Tony. He's from Louisiana. He's a pastor. Been on Capitol Hill for years, defending faith, protecting families, and reminding leaders that biblical truth matters. Their motto is pray, vote, stand. We stand with them. So help FRC keep defending what matters most. Visit frc.org/unashamed to learn more. Okay, so I want to hear about the you're in charge of rehearsal dinner, right? So that's your
Yes.
main thing for the wedding. So how did that go?
Yes.
Because I will say this, Mrs., since you weren't here, Jase did a fairly good job describing the wedding from his perspective of doing the wedding. But we didn't get much other flavor. I'm just saying.
Look, both of y'all have a problem. Y'all are acting like I'm not sitting here.
I'm just being honest. I love Missy coming in because I'm just telling you how it went. We heard a
Well-
lot about the lesson, how hard it was for him to get it done.
So, Al, I know that Jill loves this time of year coming up because it's the time when all the kids come back to the house. So we're going to be a packed house in a few weeks, and I know y'all probably are experiencing the same thing.
No, it's already started, Zach. They were all there last night. They're wrapped up in the blankets. Everybody's got their pajamas on. It's just something about this time of year.
That's why I love giving Cozy Earth, because I know they're going to love it, whoever I give it to. We all had the Cozy Earth bamboo sheets and the pajamas. Myself and Jase have the bubble cuddle blanket, which, Jase, are you wrapped up in that right now?
I do, and I'm probably going to give this one to my wife for Christmas. She's already bought the matching pajamas for the family, which is comfortable and cool.
I'm just glad Lisa's caught up with the bamboo sheets because I was always been a hot sleeper. She now has joined me, so we're loving all the Cozy Earth stuff, Zach.
Well, there's something for everybody, and truly, their sheets and pajamas are incredibly soft. Cozy Earth makes every day feel like it's a special occasion. So here's the deal. Black Friday has come early at Cozy Earth. Right now, you can stack our code Unashamed on top of their site-wide sale, giving you up to 40% off in savings. That's CozyEarth.com and use our code Unashamed. These deals won't last long, so start your holiday shopping today. And if you get a post-purchase survey, be sure to mention that you heard about Cozy Earth right here on the Unashamed podcast. Wrap the ones you love in luxury with Cozy Earth.
You know, there was a lot of pressure that it was.
I was like a tea kettle. I mean,
Okay, well.
So now I want to hear about some
Before
flavor.
I moved to the rehearsal dinner, let me just say, the wedding is not my responsibility. And I had no idea who was coming because I don't get the RSVPs. It's not my party. And I
So
also
you don't even
knew,
know who's coming from our family.
I have no
Right,
idea
I
because
got you.
I didn't want to ask anyone because it's a 5.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want anyone to feel obligated in our family, like they have to go. Of course we wanted them to go. And Cole was asking me and I was like, I don't know who's coming. We're just going to have to just see. And when Cole and I were sitting there and he was going to walk me down the aisle, we walked into that room, and it's a fairly small room. Emmeline wanted only family in that room. And the party was for everybody, the reception, but the wedding only, which was kind of strange to me at first because I asked Cole, I said, family and close friends? And he said, no, blood only. And I said, ooh, okay.
I think that rule might have been broken.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not policing anyone, but I thought, okay, well, your invitations, people, they're going to be
always
different.
claim forever family.
Right? I mean, that's not me. That's not my job to police. But when you got your invitation, it was either going to say meet us at the reception or come to the wedding, and I don't know who got what.
You know what's strange
And
is
so-
I'm just now realizing that.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, I mean, it could have been 5 people. I know my Aunt Bonnie was coming. My parents were going to be there. But other than that, I didn't know. And when we walked in that room, Cole and I saw all of those people totally filling up the Robertson side of that room. I almost burst into tears because I thought, these people really love us.
That's right, yeah.
They really love us. And they really love Cole. And that was the main thing. And it was really wonderful. So to have that picture with everybody crammed in there like that,
Including
it's
one-eyed
really special to me to have that. So I will say that.
Zach. I think I'm going to make that my screenshot on my phone for about a week in his honor since he's gone.
Now, did you do the kind of traditional picture thing of Cole growing up? Did y'all do that at the thing or any?
No, at the rehearsal dinner?
Yeah.
No, we didn't do any of that.
Okay.
What we did was, because it was very difficult, again, doing a rehearsal dinner in 5.5 hours away, but I had scoured the internet and found a place I thought would be great. And Cole and Emmeline went and looked at it, said it was wonderful, but I wanted just something very intimate.
Yeah.
Like because Reed's rehearsal dinner was in the middle of our street. And we blocked it off and down Yellowwood Drive, and it was wonderful and intimate and family only. I thought, how can I do that and make it intimate? But I think we pulled it off, and we had some really special things. We had cornhole games, LSU versus Auburn, because that's their family school is Auburn. So we had that going
hope
on.
LSU
and
won.
It wasn't that day. The game wasn't that day.
I thought the cornhole was
The cornhole games were just represented.
Oh, I see. But
LSU
there wasn't like a
versus
competition.
Auburn.
It was
it was just out there for people to just kind of.
Well, and then she gave them their family. Well,
the
I don't know
Auburn
who
set.
got the LSU
I gave him
set.
we have the LSU set.
Oh, well, okay. Good job.
You don't want her to throw it in the garbage. Yeah.
We have the LSU. I gave the Auburn set
It
to
was
them.
really well done. She had them made. I mean, they were nice.
But we had special little vignettes. So some of the things that I did, this is from a girl's perspective. So if there's women out there listening, hopefully you'll appreciate this. But I collected all of Cole's grandmothers, great-grandmothers, great-great-grandmothers, and even a great-great-great-grandmother set of china plates.
Oh, wow.
That we used for the rehearsal dinner. And so I had them all with names of each grandmother and all of that.
That's
so
why
that
you were
was-
looking for the plates. I remember
Yes,
some
I even
group
went
text
down and
going
got
around.
K's.
Right.
I thought
and
that
grannies.
was such a weird thing to bring up how people viewed china plates. Because now, if you tell me, "Oh, I got some plates from China," I'm like, well, you need to give those away. I mean, how the
Jase's
narrative.
going all Trump on you, China.
Well, no, I just mean it hasn't the perspective.
I never even thought about it that it's actually from China, but it's called
They're
China.
not from China. They're
they're
from
not
all
from China?
over the world. Actually, Italy,
But
France.
we call it China.
I don't know
What
how
is
that started.
wrong
That's a
with
good
human
question.
beings? What is wrong with us? Now I see why it all went bad from the
Jase,
garden.
Speaking of that, I thought I was finishing up a bottle of water this morning,
Eternal water.
and it's called Eternal Water. And have you ever heard his rant on these
Yes.
on the Eternal Water?
Oh, he has a
and I
whole
want to read you
sermon.
the last line. It arrived in this bottle as nature intended, eternally perfect.
See, this offends me now. I don't like
I knew it would,
when
Maddie.
companies use things only that are in the supernatural world of God, Jesus, and the
It is
Holy
good
Spirit.
water. I had to say that. I don't know that it's eternally perfect, but it was tasty.
Well, speaking of eternal, one of the things that I had at the rehearsal dinner was a Bible that I had just recently gotten from my grandparents' estate that we did not even know existed. Bonnie had just gone through the last of everything, my aunt, and said, "Here, do you want these? Do you want this? Do you want that?" And I was like, yes, 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 yes. And there were like 3 of these huge, thick family Bibles with like leather editions. I don't even know how to explain it, from like the 1800s.
Wow.
Had been passed down. And so I just took the one that was in the best condition and laid it out, and we decided to ask people to highlight their favorite verse and like maybe put their initials or their name beside it. And there was some discussion about, are we, defacing the word of God? It's like, no, we're enhancing it, I think, with just friends and family's best and favorite, what the scriptures mean to them. Well, the more I got to looking at it, it was like, this was the perfect one that I picked out because my grandmother, Betty Foster, her name was Betty Foster before it was Spoons. That's who Cole is named after. His middle name is Foster. And it was her family's Bible passed down from 1875.
Oh, wow.
And so I was able to write under the marriage section, Cole Foster Robertson marries Emmeline Hughes Ham on October 18th. And when I laid it out, I was showing them this, and it had a picture of our Gigi in it, that a Polaroid taken a few years ago, and I was showing Cole and Emmeline that at the rehearsal dinner, and Reed walks over and goes, whoa, 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 what is this? And he said, I'm the firstborn son. What's happening here?
He went Jewish history, firstborn son.
like-
I'll
2/3 of the inheritance
want
here.
this
Yeah.
Bible.
And I said, Gigi and Pops were at your rehearsal dinner.
Yeah, that's right.
They get the Bible. He went, that's fair. I was like, okay. It was a funny moment. But it was very special to Cole and Emmeline to be able to have that. And they're going to display that in their home. So.
I still got a copy of one of Granny's Bibles. And of course, Granny had some, mental issues. So I'm not sure if what frame of mind she was in when she wrote all this in her Bible. But she did write all of her kids and their spouses on the inside cover. And then she wrote Lisa and I. That was as far, I guess, as we got into the marrying part before, she quit doing it. And so it means a lot to me because at least it's kind of that
Yes.
idea, which,
Yes.
in the old days, that's how you kept track of things.
Right.
People wrote stuff like this down. And that's one of the greatest sources of like following family lineage to this day.
Yes.
Is people's old Bibles and things like that. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah,
that you did that.
they loved it. And it was a total surprise. I didn't tell them that was happening. So they loved it.
With our kids that, there's toys that break, there are gadgets that are forgotten about 10 minutes after the kids get them. So we want to try to think this Christmas season about some gifts that will last. And that's why we like talking about Brave books. Each month, Brave sends out a new book that teaches lessons like courage, forgiveness, or standing firm in your faith. Jase, you happen to know one of the Brave authors quite well.
Yes, my wife wrote Because You're My Family, and it's basically God's story. It's fantastic, and she's very proud of it.
Jeff and Jessica also did one called Dear Valor, which is a great book kind of centered on adoption. When you subscribe, you'll not only get a new book each month, plus Missy and Jeff and Jessica's books are going to be yours for free. What a great deal. As a bonus, you'll also get access to Brave Plus, their new streaming platform, packed with safe, uplifting shows like Iggy and Mr. Kirk with our old friend Kirk Cameron's. It's a great platform to be able to get these great gifts. Lisa gets them for our grandkids. We love reading them with them. You're going to love it too. Visit bravebooks.com/unashamed to get this exclusive offer and use the code unashamed for 20% off your order. That's bravebooks.com/unashamed. Raise them with truth. Raise them brave.
I mean, overall, I think the rehearsal dinner was beautiful. We did vintage ducks and magnolias, really wanted to try to bring a Louisiana theme to Alabama. And it was just lovely. I just don't, I look back at that weekend and I would not change or do anything different. It was just absolutely
And you've been with the couple since
wonderful.
they got back and everything?
They are so happy.
That's good.
Oh,
They are so happy.
This marriage just broke them out of their shell. We've talked to them more since they've got married.
Cole's had a hard shell for a long time.
He doesn't say a whole lot, but when he does, it's usually profound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, one thing I think with him, he's 27. He's about to be 28 next month. And that's late in our family to get married. And when
Probably
I think
the
about
latest so far out of all.
when I think about his personality, he analyzes and thinks through every single thing before he would ever make a decision. I remember when he was small, I would learning his personality, I would say, I'm going to ask you a question and I need any answer except I don't know. So I want you to think about it for a second and then actually give me an answer. And he would think through the whole thing first. And him going into, philosophy was his major and theology at Pepperdine. And then taking a long time to figure out if he wanted to ask Emmeline out because he had a whole rule about not dating someone from the workplace. And he really thought that was admirable not to do that. And we learned from her in the meantime that she is dying for him to ask her out. She just has this huge crush on him. And it's so cute to hear her talk about that. Yeah. And, finally, he just does it, takes that step of faith and meets the love of his life, basically. And they date for over 2 years before they're married. So I think that they're just what Jay said, in the wedding about if there's anyone here who thinks that they have a reason for these two not to get married, you may leave now. Yeah. Because
I thought he was going to say keep it to yourself. He told that
because we are convinced that
so
God
funny.
brought these two together,
Yeah.
and we are.
Yeah.
They're precious, and they've got their their values
And that line
straight.
did deliver. It got
It was
a huge
great.
laugh.
Yeah.
But now
it was
that I
so
think
great.
about it, Al, I didn't realize it was all just family in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't that have worked?
Exactly. Yeah.
But I just clueless. I just thought because you don't know. I didn't know a lot of people in there, including some people in my family. Although it's just because I didn't recognize them because I hadn't seen them in a while. And I was like, "Who are you?" "Oh, you're my cousin." Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was, getting through that weekend, it was wonderful. But I think, the last few weeks have been really stressful for me. And I know this even from an outside perspective because my hairdresser in Tennessee, she was telling me about the supplement because I was like, is there any supplements out there that will actually help your skin and hair? Like everybody claims all this stuff. And she told me about one that she says, I really believe in this one. And so I got on the internet and I made me fill out a questionnaire. I'm in menopause or postmenopause, and how many kids do you have? And I'm like, and what are their ages? Which already is a stressful question because that's complicated. How many kids I have? I don't know, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. It depends on any given week.
You guys have a history of acquiring people.
Yes, it's like, and then do you work outside the home? I'm like, do I? I don't know. Or do I work outside the home? I'm trying to figure all this stuff out. At the end of this, it tells me which hair supplement that I need for my age and lifestyle. And then it says, and this is your stress level, so we're going to throw these in for free. I was like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me?
They determine your stress level.
They said
by
it,
questionnaire?
yes, and because I thought, they're trying to sell me something else. They're like, no, you just
They felt sorry for you.
take these, take these, and take 2 a day.
Yeah.
We'll pay for them. So I was like,
Jase, if hers is that high, what is your stress level? That's what I'm wondering.
I don't know. I couldn't do that to myself.
I didn't know until I started trying to answer all these questions.
Well, I think the stress is back to the kids with all this
Totally.
going, and because you
And
never
the schedule. We
you
have
never never
hectic
realize when
schedule.
you get married, you think, oh, if we're blessed to have kids, but then you have the kids to be named later. It's kind of like a baseball trade.
Yeah,
You know, it's
exactly.
like they traded for this guy, they acquired and a player to be named later, which we've had a couple of those.
We had an orphan thrown in there at some
a
point.
couple, and it's like, actually, one of the questions of this past weekend that we didn't get to, but I was prepared to answer was, how do you handle your schedule with all of your family responsibilities? And my answer to that is, I don't have any family responsibilities. My kids are grown and they're doing amazing. I did my job and I would say I did it well. They're doing great.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no responsibilities when it comes to my family. Now, I have obligations. I feel stressed because I want to help them. But when it comes to actual responsibilities, everything else is a choice. I've done my job. And it's like, this is a really great place to be. And that is why I'm thankful, because our kids are doing really well. Do they have struggles? Yes. They
That
have
never
ups
ends.
and downs, valleys and peaks. And sometimes they ask our advice. Sometimes they don't. But we are there to help and support them as much as we possibly can when they ask. And it is really a wonderful stage in life.
Well,
It
tell
really
me
is.
about, because Jase mentions Little Man quite a bit on the podcast. And so I understand that he is really into holidays.
Well,
Okay.
it's
You're wearing a
really-
thankful shirt,
Yes.
which thank you, Missy, because we're into Thanksgiving. This is
Yes,
probably
we
going to
are.
air around Thanksgiving. So.
Yeah, I feel like Thanksgiving kind of gets left out, and it's important.
Because now we do this. Have you noticed in the last decade that we literally everybody's decorating big time for Halloween now? So you see Halloween stuff
Yeah,
and these giant skeletons and all that,
Yeah.
which are kind of creepy.
Me too.
And then all of a sudden, like the next week, we are full blown Christmas, and I was like, "What happened to Thanksgiving?" Because that's a
know.
big time. That's
well,
a
and
big season.
it was kind of a way for me to talk to Little Man about it, because he's all about Christmas and Santa. And he has been since last Christmas. And last Christmas, he was 2. I mean, he has been all about it. And so we're trying to teach him patience with that. And we're talking about Halloween.
He doesn't
but
quite understand mascot to understand it.
No, it's all these.
It's the Big Mia.
Yeah.
He calls the mascot Big
Yeah.
Mia, and he's checking on her
Yeah.
because her head came off. So he's checking on her vitality, I guess.
So I don't know if I ever told you, he came in and he's like, J-Rock, we have a problem.
I know. It's
He's
just,
like-
I don't know how to
He
explain
calls
it.
the mascot that we use for Mia's charity. And it's just think the same thing like they do at football
Yeah.
games. We
It
have
looks just like her. It's really, really good. It's really cute, and the kids
like-
love it.
her head has fallen off.
We just didn't think about the implications of when the person wearing the mascot took the head off, and he was like, what just happened?
One of our listeners is a guy named Jeff, who's a Secret Service agent, sent me a note, Jase, and he said, tell Jase and Missy to take another mascot or another costume, put somebody in it, and then as they're taking it off, explain the difference. And so I don't know. That was his.
I had to put away that mascot when he wasn't at our house.
Yeah.
So that way, because it sat in our garage
Do you
for
think
a
it's
couple of
because it
weeks.
was Mia that was the different?
Well, he
I don't
called it
know.
Big
He
Mia.
calls it
Yeah.
because it's a mascot of Mia. But even a couple of weeks ago, we were in the bath or whatever, and I was bathing him, and he said, "Where's little Mia?" I was like, "Little Mia?" I was like, "You mean just Mia?" And he was like, "Yeah, I like little Mia." It's like, "Okay, great." He said, "But I really like Big Mia. Is Big Mia okay?" It's like, oh my goodness, here we go again. No, so I told Mia, I said, "You're now little Mia."
So I want you to know that Jay's one of my favorite episodes of the last 2 months. I was not here. I was in Gulf Shores. And all of a sudden we cue to Jay's, and he's got a cowboy hat on. And what did the shirt? Saddle Up?
Saddle Up.
Saddle Up on his shirt. And it was great. And we did a whole episode about Mia Moo.
So if you're in the market for a gift, guys, which we're at that time of year, right, and you want a guaranteed win, Aura frames are it. Super personal and super simple to set up.
Yeah, well, Zach, we are grandparents, and what happens is when you have a lot of distance, something like this is perfect because you can upload videos, send pictures, and so yeah, she got these for her parents to keep up with our grandkids.
Yeah, and I have one too as well down at the Southern Layers Act that it's right next to mine and Lisa's little office. And, it's great because I get to see my grandkids in real time. So it's a really, really neat idea.
Yeah, you can use the Aura app to add unlimited photos and videos for free. That you don't have to worry about memory cards or any kind of monthly subscription. And get this, you can even preload it with memories before it ships. So if you're giving it as a gift, you can include a personal message that really feels extra thoughtful when they turn it on. Don't wait. Win the holidays now with Aura Frames. And so for a limited time, visit auraframes.com and get $45 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code UNASHAMED at checkout. And here's how you spell it. That's AURA frames.com using promo code UNASHAMED. This exclusive Black Friday Cyber Monday deal, it's their best of the year, so order now before it ends and support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
And so I want you to talk a little bit about that too, in with Little Man in this whole season.
Well, he actually came with us this year, and he was a part of just everything that we did, wore him out. But the day was fantastic. If you talked about Mia Moo Fund Day, I'm sure the overall view is we're helping families and they connect with each other and support each other. But I think this was my favorite year so far. Just the theme was so fun, and we learned how to do the do-si-do at the end. And actually,
you did that at the
Cole
wedding.
and I did that dance at the wedding.
See, that's what I'm just now figuring all this out because
I didn't plan that when I hired Jared to do that.
I mean, the church Missy was raised in frowned upon dancing.
And the
our
school
whole
and
background,
everything.
our whole heritage.
No,
frowned
you got pregnant if you danced.
Is it not true that you weren't allowed
No.
to? What was that movie to watch?
Footloose.
Footloose. No, I was not
Footloose.
allowed to watch that. I did not watch that until this past decade. I had no
I
idea.
didn't want you breaking
That
out.
is sad.
No.
And so I was so shocked because when it was time for the groom to dance with
the mom.
the mom, I was like, oh boy, I know she's, because you seem nervous about that. And then all of a sudden they broke into this choreographed and everybody went nuts. And I was thinking, where did this come from? What has happened?
It was a Footloose moment, actually.
Yeah, I thought, has she been sneaking out late at night? No, she never would. She'd be
I
sleeping.
taught Cole the dance that morning at our Airbnb. I was like, you want to do this with me instead of just stand there,
With
go
the
back and
Frankenstein
forth.
lumbering
I know,
dance.
like, it's
yeah.
just so awkward.
But they did it like they were kind of almost making fun of it in a way. It's like
was fun.
Yeah,
It was
we
fun.
could really bust a move here. They were doing enough moves where it gave the impression like, I'm just going to keep this tame for your benefit. I mean,
I'm glad it came across like that because we did it so we wouldn't be awkward, and yet the band was only going to play the song. So the song we chose was "You've Got a Friend in Me" from Toy Story, because that was Cole's favorite movie, probably longer than it should have been. He was Buzz Lightyear everywhere for years. I don't know if you remember that. It's
I
just,
think maybe
he
he's still
loved
Buzz Lightyear.
He
He
loved
never got
Buzz.
over it.
So I was like, why don't we do that? Because now we're friends. I don't parent you anymore. It's kind of the perfect song. And so he loved it. And so I said, okay, it's short and we'll do these little moves to make it not awkward. Well, the band was going to just play it on their phone, and it wouldn't work. So they stood there and tried to learn it in about 20 seconds while we're standing there with everyone watching. And I thought, oh no. And so they just basically got a guy who was familiar with the chorus of the song, and he went through it once, and he said, let's do that again. And I was looking at Cole like, I don't think they know this song. They did great at improvising. I was like, let's just go for our little part, And so then we did it, and we ended it ourselves. And I think it turned out really fun. It was super fun for me.
And just to remind the audience, y'all had a guy, and he's done our marriage retreat too a couple of times, and where he does, like, he teaches you all the do-si-dos and the back and forth and whatever they call all that.
And he
It's a lot of
teaches
fun.
it so well.
It's
not
very
all,
fun.
You just really get to learn.
It's a
It's
lot of
super,
fun.
super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I wanted to say too about this is, and I'm going to get a little political here for just a second, because
I like it when Missy gets political.
Well, because I kind of get fired up about it. But, this whole government shutdown business, we have a Mia Moo family that it directly impacted. And I wanted to talk about this family a couple of years ago because he's in the military. But I just didn't do it. I thought it's just not the right time, but now it is, so I'm going to tell you. A couple of years ago, this family was a new family to Mia Moo, and he's in the National Guard. The father is, they have 4 kids, 4 boys, and one of them was born with a cleft lip and palate. And they came for the first time 2 years ago, and he was not able to come because he was stationed at the border. So she came with 4 kids and her mom. She was brand new, kind of scared. You know, new families are kind of deer in the headlights. They don't know what to expect. So at lunch, I went over and sat down to talk to her and kind of get to know her. And she was just the sweetest, shyest mom, doing her best, and was asking her about her husband, and he's stationed at the border. And I was like, well, I know I can't ask you where he is exactly, but what are his duties? She said, oh, his duty is just to stand there. Now, this is 2023 under the Biden administration. Yeah. So he can't do anything. He's not allowed.
Yeah.
I said, so he just stands there all day? She said, he stands there all day and watches the chaos. And I said, well, if someone is drowning in the Rio Grande, can he jump in and save them? And she said, oh, no, that's Border Patrol. He literally cannot. He's been told not to do a thing, which at that time infuriated me even more. I knew that was happening, but to hear it from a mom who is suffering with having a surgery of one of her children, cleft lip and palate, having to have her mom come, and then making this trip because she needs the support of others around her.
Yeah.
And her husband, with taxpayer money, cannot do a thing. Yeah. Just stands there. And so here we go 2 years later, and they come. They've come last year, and they came this year. And they're just, she's like a different person. She's talking at the parent group, you know, and giving advice and asking advice. And she's just become a part of the family. And he's wonderful too. And we were talking to him afterwards, and I said, I really appreciate what you do for our country. I know it was hard a couple of years ago, but hope things are better now. And he said, yeah, things are better, but, you know, starting next week, we're probably not going to get paid. And because of the government shutdown, I said, well, hopefully it won't come to that. And of course it did.
Yeah.
And about 3 weeks into the shutdown, I remembered that conversation, and I approached the board of Mia Moo and said, is there anything that we can do for military families who are in the Mia Moo Fund, like our Mia Moo families? I know we only pay medical bills. We don't pay expenses of any kind, but can we help this family? They have 4 kids, 4 boys, and one of the board members said, well, there's absolutely nothing in the bylaws that says that we can't help them in times of desperation. So Bonnie went and got Visa gift cards for $1,000. And I said, don't ask them if they need anything. Let's just do it. Because they'll probably say, no, we're fine. And we sent them $1,000 in Visa gift cards. And the note that we got back from her, this is the gist of it. She said when she received those gift cards in the mail, she started crying so much because she said they had been praying about what to do. And she called her husband, and she couldn't even speak on the phone. She had to FaceTime him to just show him because she said she was crying so hard. And she said we had no money left in our account, and we had been praying about it, and we had just decided that morning that we were going to have to dip into our children's Christmas fund. And then we received this in the mail. And so we looked to see if there were any other military families in the Mia Moo Fund, and with our records, there are not. But what an amazing thing that we have this fund to help these Mia Moo families, not just with the stress of having a cleft lip and palate child, but also being able, with the help of our donors. These are all donor money, and we really take that responsibility important.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very important. And we take it seriously. So thank you for donating to the Mia Moo Fund and for these families. But I did want to share that. He is actually now being able to do his job, you know. But in times of desperation, it was such a true gift.
Well, we talk a lot on the podcast, Missy, about how the kingdom of God has the responsibility to
Yes.
step in
Yes.
to help people. And whether it's a disaster, we've talked about that because, Swannanoa last year with Zach and everything that went on up there. And, everybody's like waiting around on the government, but it's not the government. It's our responsibility to look out for each other. And you're right. It's one family that That's who you step in the gap for. And if everybody takes that mindset, whether it's an organization or just an individual.
So are you guys ready to own your own home? Look, buying a property is an extremely important decision. It's one of the most important financial decisions, maybe the most important financial decision most of us will ever make in our lives. So if you feel like you're ready to buy, I'm telling you the time to act is right now, because for the first time in years, buyers actually have the upper hand. There's more inventory on the market, which means that you have more negotiating power because there's less competition. But opportunities like this, they're not going to last long, because as soon as the feds cut the rate, what happens is buyer demand is likely to spike, and you know what that means. Prices go up and sellers have the advantage. Peak home buying season is in full swing right now. So now is your moment to lock in the right home, and you can do it on your terms before the market shifts. Reach out today to get approved for mortgage financing with my good friends Andrew and Todd at andrewandtodd.com, or call 888-888-1172. I know Andrew and Todd personally. These guys love Jesus. I met them at a worship event in Monroe, Louisiana. If I'm ever in the market for a property, I can tell you the guys I'm going to call, Andrew and Todd. It's important to work with someone who shares your values. These are the guys that I trust with 40 years of experience. They really are the experts, and they make it easy because they keep everything in-house. Call 888-888-1172 or go to andrewandtodd.com. That's andrewandtodd.com.
That's our responsibility. I mean, that's really what Acts 2 is about, right? I mean, they looked out for each other in the moment, and that's exactly what you guys did. Well, kudos to you for even thinking of that. And again, it does bring to mind when these things get political, and it was just a showdown about politics, but real people suffer in the
and just
gap of that.
some statistics. To date, we have helped 199 families with medical bills. That's not counting the Mia Moo Fund days. And over $800,000 has been given to these for these children's surgeries and all of that. So we, again, if you know someone who needs that, you can apply at miamoo.org. Bonnie vets. She will vet you to the fullest extent of the law. She will vet you. But if you can make it through the process, it's really it relieves a lot of stress, financial stress for the families.
What a blessing. I want to ask you in our last segment, because we got a special guest coming on the next podcast we're excited about. But you've been doing a lot of mentoring as well. Jase mentioned it a couple of times in these last few weeks, because you had another time where you had some people come in. But I want you to talk a little bit about that, not just what you have going on, but just the importance of the idea of mentoring, both from a perspective of being called to do that, but also being called to be mentored, which is very important, for people and very biblical, by the way.
Well, I took it for granted most of my life because I had so many mentors in my life. And at church every week, I was being mentored by an older woman, and men too, but by an older woman, and teaching biblical just thoughts and how to do your, to run your household and marriage and your spiritual life. And I just show up every week and just be taught more. And I realize not a lot of women have that. I realize it now. I did not realize it then. But when little man dropped from the sky, basically 3.5 years ago, I called Brighton because Maris was 2 months old. And I said, what do I do? What do I need? I've forgotten everything. And what just started a relationship with us, we were talking not just every day, but multiple times a day about sleep training and food and formula. And the formula crisis happened at that time, and I had to get on what formula she had. And she just was helping me. And then she started asking me parenting questions, discipline questions, a lot of things. So we started really forming a closer relationship during that time. And a few weeks after that, Kendall came to me and said, I really think you should do like a mentorship weekend. And I said, what is that? What would that be? And
Kendall's like in her 20s.
She is. Yeah. And so she's in the same age range. And, she just, she has her own story to tell, but she missed out on the mentorship growing up and even now in this time in her life. And so I kind of questioned her, but she really encouraged me to do it. She said, you have some things, because we formed a relationship. She said, you have some things to say that women my age need to hear. I was like, oh, well, when somebody tells you that, it makes you feel kind of good, like, oh, really? And I said, do you think people will come? And she said, I really do. And we've had 3 so far, and they have been life-changing, not just for them, but for me as well, knowing how much information that I have accumulated in the 54 years of my life in terms of biblical knowledge and in terms of other women pouring into me. Now I can pour into these girls. Call them girls because we say 22 to 32.
Yep.
And the reason we started with that age, we talked about it. We still talk about it. Like, what age should it start and end? And I said, well, and this was when Mia was about to turn 21. I said, she's still really not listening to me yet, so let's go to 22. And it was just like, which is kind of crazy because she just turned 22, and for the past maybe 6-8 months, Mia has called me and questioned me and just wanted my opinion and advice. So she's, I think 22-ish is that age where they're past college or getting past college and are really wanting to look into their own future. Like, I want to do this right. And 22 to 32 is that age where one of my mentors, Joe Neal Kirby, who is also someone you should have on this podcast, by the way.
Have we ever had her?
No.
I don't think we have.
Doctor of Marriage and Family Therapy. She's the one who told me this, is that because she had a master's degree in therapy for children. I don't know exactly what it was, but she was a child psychologist. And she realized, I would like to stop these problems before they start. Instead of dealing with the child with the problems, let me back it up. So she said at 50 years old, she went back to school and got her doctorate in marriage and family therapy. And that way she can deal with young adults before they start their families or as they're starting their families to change the trajectory of their family, to live a life and to lead their family in the word of the Lord. And so that's kind of how I start these weekends. And these girls, there's a waiting list, I'll just say, because you can only do a dozen or so at a time to be really intimate. And they come from all over the country. They fly, they drive 14 hours to come and sleep in a bed with someone they've never met before at Logtown. They cram in Logtown, they get to know each other, and we dig into the Word. We talk about not their past specifically, but they learn how to look at their past and not let that determine their future, but actually let the Lord determine their future. And it can get really emotional for them. And then it starts on Friday, ends on Sunday, and Saturday night is our big Jesus night. And that's when we've been baptizing these girls in our pool. And a couple of weekends ago, I baptized one in the clawfoot tub at Logtown. So they're actually turning their lives around and making decision to lead their family.
And you're
in the
actually
Lord.
tapping into something that I've noticed the last, decade has been really taken off across the country and even here locally, several churches, including ours, with these men's and women's retreats that are similar, not exactly the same as what you're doing, but similar in the sense of having a focused weekend and then ending with the idea that Jesus is what makes the difference. And so you're seeing a lot of that
It's
life change.
the only difference that will take.
And even this podcast, Jase, I would say it's not as intimate as what Missy's doing, but it's exactly, we're kind of targeting the same age range of, it's usually young men that listen to us, at least initially. Now we're growing in the young women.
Well, one of the best things about it is I've included now some women my age to help me along in this weekend. I have 2 or 3 that are there with me. And a couple of times ago, after my Jesus lesson around the pool, very relaxed, I just go into the kitchen and start cleaning up. And one of these women, my friends, said to me, well, how do you know if someone wants to be baptized and someone wants to surrender their life to Christ? And I was washing. I said, we'll know. Just washing, cleaning up. And they were kind of like, well, when does that part start? Like, you'll see. And I turned around, and one of these sweet girls is just coming for me, and her body's starting to break down. She's just falling to pieces, and she falls into my arms, and she says, I'm done. And I was like, this is how you know when they realize they're done trying to lead their own lives, they're surrendering to the Lord.
That's it.
And it is a sweet, sweet
love
moment, and it's wonderful.
So Titus 2:4, then they can train older women, the younger women, to love their husbands, children, to be self-controlled and pure, to be busy at home, to be kind, to be subject to their husbands, so that no one will malign the word of God. So that's a couple of verses that kind of go in with Joe Neal's philosophy, and she's been doing that for many, many decades. We're out of time, but that went fast, Missy, which means it was really good. We've got one of those 22 to 32s coming on the next podcast, so we'll wait and introduce her then. So we'll see you next. Thanks, Missy, for coming on. We'll see you next time on Unashamed. Thanks for listening to the Unashamed podcast. Help us out by leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And don't miss an episode by subscribing on YouTube. And be sure to click the little bell and choose all notifications to watch every episode.